Yes.
Morning. Okay, ready?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning.
Morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Rabbi.
Can I put it on pause? I mean, on
No, he has
Good
to
morning.
put it on mute.
Good morning.
yeah.
Okay, we're going to start at the Mishnah on Zion Amud Bais. Actually, there's two Mishnayos here. We're going to start at the first Mishnah. It says, Yesh mevias karban v'nechal, v'yesh mevias karban v'eina nechal. V'ish eina mevias. We're talking over here about a woman that gave birth, and
Talking about giving birth.
she's supposed to,
That's what
maybe
was
that's
in
how
your
it's on my
mind.
mind. She's supposed to bring a karban after she gives birth. Now, sometimes that karban is totally acceptable and it's eaten, and sometimes it's not. And sometimes she doesn't even have to bring it. Depends on what she gives birth to. So it goes like this. The Gemara goes back to explain. Mevias karban v'nechal, the first case. When does she bring a karban and the karban is acceptable and it's eaten? That's hamapelas k'min behema v'chayav oif. Of course, if she gives birth to a human, but Reb Meir. Reb Meir's opinion is that if she gives birth, Mary had a little lamb, and the doctor fainted. So she gives birth to some other creature with mutations of the cells and different things that comes out looking something strange. It's like an animal, but Reb Meir holds that that's considered a birth, and so she's chayav to bring a karban. The Chachamim say no, it has to look like a human. Okay. Hamapela sandal. This is like a form. I guess it doesn't have a face, but it's a form of a human body. A shilya, or if there's just a placenta there, and we say in shilya b'lei vlad, there must have been the fetus there, but what happened, we don't know. A shpir merukam, or if it's a piece that seems to have the image of a human, the form. Or the fetus comes out, but it was cut up. It was like in pieces. Or if it's a maidservant that also had this miscarriage, so maybe a karban v'nechal. She brings all of these types of births.
It's not even a baby born.
It's not even a baby.
Cut up baby, or you give birth and just a hand comes out.
Right. So what we're saying here is that it's not the human that comes out afterwards; it's the birth. Now, if it's the birth of a human, so if it's considered a birth of a human, even though afterwards you don't have someone walking around, but nevertheless that's still considered a birth, and she has to bring a karban for giving birth.
Even if it's not alive.
Yeah. Even if it's not alive, yeah. Ve'elam mevias ve'eina nechalas. The following bring, but they don't eat the karban. Now this is sort of like a suffix. So, hamapelas ve'eina do amai pila. If someone has a miscarriage, but they don't know.
Don't know
what it was.
What it was. It was dark.
Oh.
On the road.
Right.
Traveling.
We're going to see that we said that there's a machlekes regarding if it's the image, if it's the form of an animal. But everyone would agree that if it's the form of a fish, we're going to see fish or grasshoppers or that type of form, that's not considered a birth. Now, let's say she gave birth to something that's like, is it a fish or is it a...
stuff.
Right.
How do you birth it? That's possible that that's happened.
I was listening to a talk by the head of the genetics department in Colombia. He's a frum guy, and it's about Shuvah, and I think he finished Shas. He does the Daf Yomi. And he was talking about how he was learning in Nida all of these interesting births and things, and there were people that were saying, "This is impossible. How could?" He's like, "No, this is what I do in my lab. This is what I'm working on. It may be impossible for a few thousand years, but now we." So it's a little more significant. Okay. Shtei nashim shepilu. Two women that had a miscarriage. Achas min p'tur. One of them had a the fetus was something that would be exempt. For example, had the image of a fish or something. It wasn't actually looking like a human. And one of them had an image of something that was human. So the form. So now, what do they do over here? Some Rabbi Yosi. What did Rabbi Yosi says? Bisman shahal chuzel mizrach v'zel marav. I'm sorry. What did I say? What is I'm missing?
Masai.
One second, but we're missing a psak over here. What we missed was v'chein. The same halacha applies. We missed the v'chein because we didn't have a psak over here. It says the same halacha would apply that they bring a carbon but they don't eat it. That would apply. We missed the word v'chein. And also, 2 women that gave birth. One was Potter and one was Chayev, and they don't know which one gave birth to what. So they bring a carbon, but they each bring a carbon, but they don't eat it. Amar Rabbi Yosi says, "Hey Masai, when do they do this? Bisman shahol chuzel mizrach v'zel marav." That's only if they're both not here. They went away, and someone has to bring a carbon for them. But if they're both standing here, maybe it's carbon. They both bring one sacrifice. Menachem, and it could be eaten. What do? They make a t'nai. They say, if it's my carbon, if I'm the one that needs to bring the carbon, then it's my carbon. And if you need to bring the carbon, then it's your carbon. They make a t'nai, and then only one carbon, because there was only one real birth here. So, and that would work. Eily shein mevias. These are the following don't bring any carbon at all. See where we are? We're in the middle of the Mishnah and Daf Zayin. Zayin Amud Bais. Hamapelas shpir malimayim. If they give birth to some sort of sack that's full of water, or malidam, or it's full of blood, it's like a bubble. Maligninim. If it was full of colors, different colors, we hear water, blood, or other colors. Hamapelas k'min dagim v'chagavim. She gives birth to something that looks like a fish or a grasshopper, shkatzim or masim. These are creeping creatures. And hamapelas yomer boim. She gives birth on the 40th day from conception. So this is not considered a form of an embryo yet. Or v'yotze doifen, or if it's a cesarean. It means that they took the baby out through surgery. It wasn't a natural birth. Rab Shimon mechayev b'yotze doifen. Rab Shimon holds that yotze doifen is considered a birth.
So what's he do with the Bechoros?
I think it's only Benegei the carbon. Did you read The Promised Child? Do you remember Shlomo Polishever didn't have a toe or something? So it's a historical fiction. But
the first was the second main one.
So you see that a baby could be born deformed. So this is just an extreme deformity. That was just one finger. But,
a lot of stories about how it's
okay, Shifcha Minalan. How do we know that a maidservant has to bring a carbon after she gives birth? The Tana Rabbana was taught in a Bais, Bnei Yisrael, the Jewish people. It says, what's the pasuk? Daber Bnei Yisrael. Yishak, he says, yeah, so Eily Bnei Yisrael, I would only have thought that a Jewish person, Gieris v'shifcha minayin, Bnei Yisrael, not Jewish person, would mean the children of Yisrael. That means that, like, from birth.
You said a non-Jewish slave has a lot of woman.
Exactly. Talmud Lamar Isha. It says a woman. My v'chein shifcha. So then, if that's the case, why does it have to say shifcha? That's obvious. Salkadait chamina. In other words, because the Gemara is thinking your question, Yossi, it's saying that a shifcha is chayiv in all mitzvahs, just like a woman, a regular woman. Could have entered your mind to say kiyamrin and kol mitzvah shisha chayav ba eved chayav ba. All mitzvahs that a woman is chayiv, a slave is chayiv. Hani mila b'davar sheshava bein ish bein isha. I would have thought that that's only something that's equal to men and women, Eved and the Shifcha. But over here, by the birth, Aval Yiledes, the Menachem Isa Ba'anasim Lesson, men don't give birth. So then, Emelei Techayev Shifcha. I would think that maybe a maidservant isn't Chayev in because who? The Eved is Chayev in all the things that a woman is Chayev in. But here, an Eved isn't Chayev in it by default, not by. So Hachitani Shifcha. That's why I asked to say Shifcha.
Shifcha means what?
A maidservant.
Just being a maidservant by itself. The servant doesn't have the halachas.
No, to tell us that she does. That
She does.
in this case,
She
she
does
does
have
have
halachas.
the halachas.
No, but she does. But maybe not. That's why you mentioned.
Elu maybe in carbon chulu. Following, bring a carbon, and what's in the chulu?
The necholim problem.
Elu maybe in carbon, and it is not eaten. Yeah, it's really we're going to be discussing here, Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi says that's only if both of them have gone parted ways. But if they're here, then they can make a tanai and they can bring one carbon for both of them. My avdin, what do? Mesinin tarvayo chad carbon, oila vadai, b'chata seif safek. See, this is very interesting. Umasni, and they make a condition. You see, a woman that gives birth needs to bring an oila and chatas. An oila could be a donation, so we're not concerned about the donation aspect. We're only concerned because this could be, this is either my obligatory oila or my donation oila, but it's both an oila. We also have another problem here, is that the way the birds are brought is there's malika done on it. So if you're not chayiv to do it, then that's called a nevela. It's only if you're chayiv to do it that it's really kosher, because it's not shchita. So that's why we were saying ein nechal, that it's not eaten, because if it's not a real shchita, then it can't be eaten. It's only real shchita. It's only considered a malika. It's considered shchita if you're obligated in that. So here, what we're saying is the problem is the chatas oif. The chatas you don't bring unless you're obligated. There's no donation chatas. So what you do is like this. Umasni, you make it a condition. If it's my chatas, then good. If it's your chatas, then you do it. I'm not sure. Are they bringing one chatas, one oila saif, or two oila saif? What does your commentary?
One.
And they jointly bring a bird chatas.
Yeah.
The two women each bring one definite oila offering.
Oh,
What does that
they
mean?
bring
The
two.
two women each bring.
They bring one common.
But this
Yeah. They each bring one.
each bring one sounds like two.
What does
They
it
get
say?
all
Is
the
38?
if
Each one brings her own bird oila.
Yes, that
With the
is.
stipulation that it be a voluntary oila.
Wait, they each bring.
We need the contract lawyers to say the.
They each
What does that
bring
mean?
an
They each
ola,
bring
but
one.
They both bring one chatas
In other words, on the table you're going to see two.
for the ola,
Yeah. The oifala.
and then they together bring one chatas.
Yeah. Because the chatas is the big problem.
Right.
Okay. The Gemara asks over here, because Rabbi Yossi said that they can make a tanai. It says, "Miyaseh Rabbi Yossi tanai." Does Rabbi Yossi really hold of a tanai that you're allowed to do a tanai? But tanan, start in the Mishnah. Rabbi Shimon says this Mishnah is talking about if someone eats chalev and someone else eats shuman, and both plates were on the table, and they don't know which one ate the chalev, which one ate the shuman, so someone has to bring a chatas here. Shimon says, "Meviim shneim chatas achas." They bring one chatas. They make a condition. He says, "I don't know who it was. If it's my chatas, then good. If it's your chatas, then good." Rabbi Yossi Aimer ein shneim mevias chatas achas. And anything that has to do with Rabbi Yossi, you have to pay attention. So always remember it's Rabbi Yossi's shita.
So
Nimuka yimai.
when you bring a chatas, it's not an avera if you want to do it, if you're doing it for the wrong reason.
No, if you.
So,
Oh, you mean if you did it, if you weren't
chayav?
chayav?
Didn't have to do it, yeah, if you weren't chayav.
Oh, so here, no, it is a problem. We don't want to bring a chatas if you don't have to. So what we're going to do is we're going to say that on condition. One of us definitely has to bring it. So if it's mine, good. If it's yours, then good. We'll make a condition. If I needed to bring it, then this chatas is mine. But if you needed to bring it, then this chatas is yours. They're both bring one. Alma or Rabbi Yosi, Leslie Tanah. Because Rabbi Yosi says over here, Ein Shneim maybe is chatas achad. Rabbi Yosi, I didn't explain this. Rabbi Yosi holds that, what's a chatas? A chatas is when someone says, I did a sin. And if he doesn't want a sin on a sin offering to be brought al tanai. It's like, what are you doing? You're saying, I don't really know if I did this. What type of kapara is that? But he bases it on the pasuk oy hoida. It says that there has to be some sort of knowledge of that the sin was committed. You're still in doubt. That's not a alma. It's like a non-committal alma Rabbi Yosi Leslie Tanai. We see that Rabbi Yosi doesn't hold of a tanai, and here we're saying that you make a tanai when you bring these birds, the bird. There's two types of sacrifices that are brought. There's a sin offering, and then there's a mechusik kapara. Mechusik kapara means that the people want to be able to eat from the sacrifices, and until they bring their own sacrifice, they're not purified enough to be able to eat from the sacrifices. It's called mechusik kapara. They're lacking in their purification. So, mechusik kapara is different than a chatas. When Ravin, who was a traveler, he comes back and forth from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael to Bavel, he says in the name of Rabbi Yochanan that Moed Rabbi Yosi mechusik kapara. Rabbi Yosi would agree that by mechusik kapara that you can make it tonight. My timer, hasam boy gavri yediyah. Over there, by a chatas, the person needs to know. Gavra is the man. Needs to know. The ksiv vayhoida alav chatas, he has to know his sin. Helkach lei my sin umasni. Therefore, he can't bring and make a condition. If it's mine, yes. If it's not, then it's yours. Aval hacha, but here, by these women, it's mechusik kapara. Ki my sin, nashim, when the women bring it, karban, the sacrifice, l'shtrei bachilas kadshim, it's just to make them permissible to eat other sacrifices. Kedatani seifa dahi, like that. Brisa concludes, Rabbi Yosi Yomer, Kol Chata Shiba Lachet Ein Shtayim Mevi Esaisa. Any sin offering. It's that Mishnah concludes. I'm sorry. Any sin offering that comes for a sin, any offering that comes for a sin, you can't have two people bringing it with the conditions. So we see clearly that it's because of the sin part, not because of just the sacrifice. Because other sacrifices that could be brought on condition. You following? You need some coffee? Or split?
Injection?
I need some tincture of time. I had my coffee.
In school they do, some schools have brain breaks. They go, everyone stand up. 1, 2, 3. Everyone stand up. Okay. Eily shein mevius. The following don't bring it all. One of them was Yetzi Daifen. Shimon Machayev the Yetzi Daifen. Shimon says the Yetzi Daifen is a cesarean, right? My time, the Reb Shimon. What's the reason for Reb Shimon? Reish Lakish. Reish Lakish explains this. Amar Kra. It says in the pasuk, "V'mnekeva teled." If a female is born, she gives birth to. Now, it didn't have to say teled. It could have said "V'mnekeva he." If it is that extra teled, l'rabis leida acheres. It's coming to teach us another type of birth. Maihi, what is that? Yetzi Daifen. That is a cesarean. Rabbanan, what do the Rabbanan do? They don't hold of that. My taima, Amar Rabmani Bar Patish, Isha Kisazriya, a woman that conceives. B'yoldan, she gives birth. Achitelim Makim Shemazras. It has to be a natural birth. Okay. Regular through conception and birth. Okay. The Mishnah, it's an interesting Mishnah. What's going on here is in this Mishnah, and then the following as well, it's also similar type concept. What happens is that a woman that gives birth, so she's tameh for a certain amount of time, and then she's tar for a certain amount of time, even if there's blood, and after 80 days, she's supposed to be pure, and she's supposed to bring her carbon after 80 days. After 80 days for a female, right? it's 60 something and 33, right? So
Yeah, the days that.
right, Tayar. It's called Yomei Tayar. So at the end of that, it's called Malais. When she finishes those Malais, when she finishes those days, she brings her karban. Let's say she has another miscarriage during that time. So no, she doesn't bring another karban.
You have to take 1 month to give birth.
It's got to take time anyway. We're talking about like an early miscarriage.
So
You know,
And
she must have conceived right away, and she has an early miscarriage.
We've excluded less than 40,
Less than 40
and
days.
40
So
at
she
the
had to.
beginning.
Let's say she conceived after 39 days, and she gives birth 40 days. It's the 79th day. She gives birth. She doesn't have to bring another carbon. It's still all under the same on the umbrella. Okay.
You're on Zainam and Biz, right?
the
The
bottom.
Zainam Beis and the
Right,
Bar. Okay. After 80 days, though, it's a new birth. Totally new. After 80 days, it's new. When does she bring her carbon? She brings her carbon
Oh, that's a window.
on the 81st day. On the 81st day. Let's say it's in between the 80th day and the 81st, because it's at night. Now, at night, you can't bring a carbon. So she's past the 80 days, but she's not eligible yet for the carbon, and she has a miscarriage. Is that considered that she's obligated in a second carbon now, because she's past the obligation of the first birth?
So you're saying
After
on the
80
79th
days.
day of the night.
Yeah, at the night of the seventh night, we call it Or
Right, I know,
L'Shmainu.
so that's
Or
right,
means
that's
the
what
night
I
before,
said.
previous, right? Or is
How
it
do you give a
considered?
carbon during the night?
No, you don't bring no karbanis at night.
Wait, well, how did we define the 40th day at the beginning, which was initially mentioned?
40th day from conception.
All these questions.
So that's a
How did they
24-hour
decide there's
day.
only one?
Yeah.
And did
I
we
think
say
so.
that they need the korban or not? Was that in
That
the
that
eat
probably
or
has
not?
to do with the formation of the embryo.
But it won't last-
Yeah, but do we
last-
say she
last
eats or
time.
not eats? And we said she brings the
Yeah,
korban.
no,
She brings a carbon, a regular carbon.
Of course she
So,
doesn't. She doesn't have to
What's the
give a
difference here? The 80th day is the same as that 40th day.
No. Here what we're saying is it the new carbon that she's going to need to bring? Is it only considered that she's obligated in a new carbon because she's now eligible already to bring the old carbon,
She's not eligible.
which means the 81st day, because now she's eligible to bring it? Or do we say that she's past the time, even though she can't bring the old carbon yet, but she's past the time? In other words, we're looking at the night. Looking at, is the night just
Yeah,
part
she-
of the
she
old
brings
or,
it
or part of the new?
But
Yeah,
the
you have
night
to
is
go.
always
Didn't
part
we-
of the new.
Yeah.
So
But
is
she
where
can't
we're
bring her
from.
carbon yet.
So
Yeah.
what? So she has
So you
tickets
should-
for the train in the morning. I mean, that's all.
Whoa.
Can't bring
Let's
it
see.
yet, but
Let's
Yeah,
see the
that's what I'm
Mishnah. You'll see the Mishnah. You'll see. It's machlekes. Everyone's right. Beishamai Beisel. You'll see.
But
I'm a peles larshmein ve'echad. A woman that has a miscarriage on the night prior to the 81st day. Beishamai paichim min carbon. Beishamai says she's pater.
Because it's still
It's not. She can't bring a carbon yet.
it's summer.
Beisil mechayven. Beisil say no. She's chayiv. Amr Beisil Beishamai. We're going to have very interesting conversations going on here. For those people that write the historical fictions, you know, Akiba and those books,
You have to get
he
right.
used these conversations in the things. So Beisil, this is Jimmy. Amr Beisil Beishamai. Beisil says to Beishamai. Beisil again. It's interesting over here. Beisil seems to be more machmir. Beisil says, "Ma'ishna or shmeinim ve'echad miyayim shmeinim ve'echad." What's the difference? The night and the day. Im shiva leila tuma, le'yishva leila karban. If she now becomes tamei,
Jimmy, go on mute.
if she now becomes tam, you see, those days were yemei tayar, those days were days of purity. But now, if she sees blood, she becomes tamei.
Really? You see?
No, not sees. If she's, I mean, if she has a discharge, if blood comes out of her, that would make her tamei. So it's already the time. It's already a new era for her. This time. So if it's a new time for tuma, for impurities, so it should also be a new time for carbon. Amalam Beishamai. Beishamai responds, Loy ima martim b'mepelsim shmein ve'echad. It's not so. If you would say if she gave birth on the 81st day, then that would be a time when she's able to bring the carbon. She didn't give birth at a time when she could have brought the old carbon, so it all goes under the same carbon status. She wasn't able to bring the old carbon yet. Amar lahem, let's finish the conversation. Let's see. Amar lahem, so Amar lahem Beis Hillel, I guess, how was I supposed to read this? Amar lahem Beis Hillel. Beis Hillel responds, what are you saying? Let's say she gave birth on the 81st day that happened to be on a Saturday, on a Shabbos. Carbon. She can't carbon. She can't bring a carbon on Shabbos. You don't bring any private carbonas on Shabbos. Only community carbonas are brought on Shabbos. So she can't bring a carbon then, but nevertheless she would have to bring two now.
She has the train ticket, so
she would have to bring two carbonas now, even though she can't bring the carbon. Amalam Beishamai responds, it's not so. If she gave birth on the 81st day that was on Shabbos, but it's a time that's eligible for karbanis in general. Theoretically, there's karbanis there, or there actually are karbanis, karban tzibur. But time of Helas Lashmein ve'echad sheina laila roya laila karbanis. Lekarev yachad laila karban tzibur. You have a karban or you have karev? What is your Gemara say? Karban or karev?
Karban.
I'm missing a nun over there. Leila karban yachad, leila karban tzibur. But at night there's no karbanis at all. And he goes back. He says the v'hadamim in this that you mentioned about tumah that comes from blood, ein mechichan. That is no proof at all.
Send them a note. They'll adjust it in their future.
Nothing grave. V'hadamim ein mechichan. Why? Shehamapelas b'toich maleis damei tmeim uptur min karban. He throws in a point over here we didn't mention. We said that if she gives birth within the 80 days, we try to work it out. Maybe it would be the 79th day, whatever. But so she doesn't have to bring a second carbon. Granted, she doesn't have to bring a second carbon, but she still has tumah from the birth. When a woman gives birth, she becomes tum. So you're telling me that if she gives birth at night, you see she becomes tameh. So that doesn't mean anything. Even if it's in the middle of the 80 days, she becomes tameh. So that's not a factor in here. Okay, we're on top of Ches. Tanya, Amalam Beis Hillel Beis Shammai. Beis Hillel.
Tanya, I thought we were going to Chassidus now.
It is Chassidus. You just have to know how to look. It was taught in the Braisa. Beis Hillel says to Beis Shammai, Harei Oimer, the pasuk says Oy labas. I am adding in the word Oy. It says or for a daughter. L'Rabbi Sarshmein Vechad. Still has a pasuk. All of that conversation, all of that, they have a pasuk that proves it. Oy, yeah. So that extra oy is telling me that
to include
the night after the 80 days, the night before the 81st day, would be chayiv in a new carbon. Listen to this Gemara. A new carbon, yeah. She's an old
So that would clarify what we just learned.
Right, that's Beis Hillel's opinion. What does Beis Shammai do? I don't know. I think actually we're going to say... I'm sorry? Only one. Reb Hoshia have a shchiach kamei de bar kapara. Hoshia used to frequent learning with bar kapara, Shavke, but he left bar kapara. V'asa kamei de Reb Chia, and he went to learn by Reb Chia.
For a pizza, for food.
Probably that's not the case, but it wasn't for the kiddush. Yomi machad pagabei. One day, Bar Kapara sees Reb Hoshia. So boy mine, he asked from him. You have to trust in Hashem. He asked from him, Zav Shira Gimel Rias, Belel Ches, Ma'bi Selayim B'Davizek. I have to explain what's going on. A Zav is a man that has an emission. He becomes Tameh because he has three seeings of a liquid that comes out of him, a white liquid that comes out of him. If it comes out twice, has the same tumah. He just doesn't bring a carbon. Comes out 3 times, he has to bring a carbon. It's a tumah with a carbon. So he asks like this: the tumah lasts for 7 days. On the 8th day, he brings a carbon. This question is like this: exactly what we said by the 80 days. If he sees again the night after the 7th, before the 8th, so he's not eligible to bring the carbon yet, but it's already after the 7 days, he has another seeing of this this tumah of 3 times.
So saying that you should.
So, what's the reason for Bais Hillel? Does Bais Hillel hold that the night is considered the new day, or does Bais Hillel say that it's the pasuk, oy labas, and it's only by birth, not over here? That's his question. Tamayad the Bais Hillel b'mapelas b'layla mishum deksiv oy labas is the reason for Bais Hillel because it has the pasuk oy labas. Aval zov shura gimel rias balel ches patri. Blame Yasri Kray. I have no extra pasuk for Zav. Or maybe there's no difference. It all has to do with the night, and Bais Hillel holds the night. Amalei Bar Kapara. So Bar Kapara responds, Ma bavli Aimer b'davar zeh. What does Rabbi say about this? You see, he's like a little poke.
He calls him Iya here.
Oh, one second. Yeah, you'll see that. What does the Babylonian say about this? Because Rabbi came from Babel to Israel. So Ishtik Rabbi Shia le'yomer klum. Rabbi Yishia is quiet, doesn't say anything. Amalei Bar Kapara says, Shrichim l'divrei Iya. We need the words of Iya. Now, Iya sounds like a derogatory name for Rabbi Chia.
Yeah.
That's what it says